Shea Stadium, the big story, Mets 86. Exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
What's up, Met fans? Welcome back to the Shea Bridge Show right here on Talking Mets and Rob. How is everybody doing? With my main man, Baseball Mike. Mike, how you doing? I catch a story at the Giants watch party, buddy. How's it going?
Doing good. There's a lot of big energy over here. Big energy for the Giants, and we'll see what they do in the playoffs, man. Right now, they're looking pretty good.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know there's a lot of Giants fans in the chat right now, so they're rooting for the Giants right now. I know you're a Jet fan, and I'm a Cowboys fan, but, you know, you can root for the Giants if you want, but I'm not rooting for the Giants. You know,
I understand that completely. That makes sense.
So, all right, guys, we are back. We're here on a Sunday, football Sunday, wild card Sunday, but we're here to talk about Mets baseball. And, of course, we're going to go through our rants. I'll go first, and then, Mike, you can rant about anything you want to talk about regarding the Mets in our first segment of the show. So I'm going to start it off. And don't worry, I'm going to mute your mic in 1 second. And as soon as I get back to you, I'll unmute the mic. All right, buddy?
That's good.
All right, man. So there we go. All right, guys. So here we go. So we found out that the Mets wanted to pay more for Andrew McCutchen, and that was the guy that they really wanted, but he wanted to go back to where it all started, and he would also get more playing time when it came to going back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. Andrew McCutchen is now a Pittsburgh Pirate once again, and that was frustrating because only recently, over the last week, a week and a half, we saw that the Mets were wanting to get Andrew McCutchen, and now he's a Pirate. And then we're like, okay, Trey Mancini is still out there. Well, guess what? Because the Mets couldn't guarantee him playing time on a regular basis, he goes to the Cubs and he gets a 2-year deal. I don't think the Mets were willing to give a 2-year deal. It seems like they were probably going to give him a 1-year deal, and now we are left with a couple of guys left on the free agent market, and that is with Adam Duvall and Jurickson Profar. We will get into that in a little bit when we get to that spot of the show. But Mike, let me know what you're thinking. You know, we got the Pete Alonso extension, we got the McNeil possible extension that might be coming along with the Pete Alonso. But what do you think about losing out on Mancini and losing out on Andrew McCutchen as well?
Hey, look, at the end of the day, they were a little bit more drawn to those types of states. You got Andrew McCutchen. He wanted to go back to his hometown, and he wants a little bit more playing time. If he was on the Mets, he would be a bench piece. He would be a fourth outfielder. As a player, I understand he wants to be able to play every day. So it makes sense why he did that. Trey Mancini, maybe New York wasn't his place. That could have been another thing too. But I don't think the Mets were a little bit interested in him, but not as much as they could have shown for. So I don't know. We still have Duvall and Jurickson Profar. I like Jurickson Profar because he can play a lot of positions, and he's a little bit younger. So I don't know. And he's what? He got switch. So that's another thing that that would be a great bench piece. You know,
True.
I don't know. But we definitely need a fourth outfielder, and I would love one of those guys. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we don't have many options, and at this point, it's what's going to be the best suited for the Mets at this point. Again, either one. You know, if I had a choice, I'd rather have Mancini or McCutchen, but Adam Duvall and Jurickson Profar are left, and I think that's what we have to look at now. And you know what? At this point, I'd probably rather get Adam Duvall, even though he's not my favorite. You know, he don't hit for average. He could hit for power. You know, he has in his career for the most part, but he was hurt last year with the hand injury as well and missed a lot of time. So, you know, maybe Jurickson Profar might be where the Mets go. You know, he gets a little bit of speed. Like you said, he plays in a lot of places. And also, you know, he's a switch hitter. So that's something that we can also look at as well. So we're going to get right into Alonso getting paid. He got $14.5 million from the Mets in arbitration. They avoided arbitration, which is a good thing. And this is a good sign because it is the biggest arbitration deal, 1-year deal for a first baseman in history. So that's a good sign that the Mets and Pete Alonso were on the same page when it comes to money-wise, and they didn't have to go through, you know, an arbiter or anything like that to get, you know, 2 different offers in and see which one the arbiter picks. So the good news is that they're on the same page with money. So I'm going to ask you this. Do you think the Mets maybe sometime during this season or in the offseason that next offseason that the Mets extend Alonso? And if you think they do, what type of deal do you think Pete Alonso would get?
Well, they have to extend him. He's a big-time Met now. I mean, he's very passionate with this team, and he's clutch. You know, and he's been there through all the amount of years. So at the end of the day, you know, as far as the amount of years, I'm not too sure about what that will be because he's 28 years old. He's still young. So maybe 7 to 8 amount of time. So it just depends. It depends. The number-wise, it's a very slippery slope when it comes to that. So we want to be able to bring him back, and we want him to be happy with the amount too. So, and he deserves it because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a Rookie of the Year. He was a home run champion, and you know, he's done a lot for the Mets, so we gotta bring our boy back.
I agree 100%. And it's funny though, because like, you look at like the amount of years that Judge got, and he's a couple of years older than Alonso. But people were talking about Aaron Judge during the offseason, before he was a free agent, where the Yankees should have offered Aaron Judge around 8-9 years, around 275. He might have took that and might have saved them a few dollars. In this case, I think the Mets can get Pete Alonso to extend him between an 8 and 9 year deal around 270 to 285, and you're under that $100 million mark, where it's still team friendly, but it's still over $30 million a year, which Pete Alonso deserves as a player, because he is a Met. He always talks about wanting to be a Met. He loves it here. He wants to win a championship here. He even talked about it, and I think that's probably where you got to do right by him, but also save a little bit of money in your pocket for a guy like McNeil, who we're probably going to extend probably around the same time, and we'll talk about him in a little bit as well. But with Alonso, I think 8 or 9 years at 28 years old, you're going to get him around 36, 37 years old when that contract is up. And now you have the DH. That's a solid deal. If Alonso stays healthy, and he showed so far that he can stay healthy, that's something that that is a no-brainer. And I don't think that Cohen is going to play around with Pete Alonso, because one, he's a fan favorite, and two, he's basically your franchise now, considering the face of your franchise, considering that DeGrom left, who was the face of the franchise before he left. And now it's Pete Alonso, and you can't play games with Pete Alonso. So in your case, like you said, Alonso has to be here, and I think it just makes sense. So also, when it comes to Alonso, do you think an 8 or 9 deal is good, or do you think you should go a little higher or a little lower?
I think 8 or 9 is good. I mean, he's 28, going on 30. Like, you want the contract to end around, 36, 37. So I think that's perfect for him, and I think he'll take it. It's just a matter of the amount. So,
yeah,
but we have to bring him back. He's a big bat for our lineup. He's a big bat,
absolutely,
and a big personality. Yeah. So,
well, listen, we don't have a lot of power. We don't have a lot of power in this lineup. He brings a lot of it.
Exactly. Agreed.
So, that's the most important thing when it comes to Pete Alonso. So I think we all think it's going to get done. It's just a matter of when and how much and how many years. And that's something that I think is important for all of us, because let's be honest, if we lose Pete Alonso, it's like, what the hell are we doing? Right? It doesn't make sense. And I don't think Cohen's going to let that happen. So exactly. So we're going to get to the next segment, which is the fourth outfielders yet again, and the DH/outfielders or infielders with Profar. So we're going back again with Adam Duvall and Jurickson Profar. Now, I know people are talking about Brian Reynolds. We were talking about it before we went live. I don't know if the Mets are even involved in this. We heard about the Rangers. Yeah, I heard about the Rangers being a heavy suitor for Brian Reynolds, because they have a pretty good package or a pretty good prospects that they can send. And Pittsburgh wants pitching prospects, but the Mets don't have a lot of. So at this point, no, exactly. So, and I don't think the Mets are going to be giving up a couple of their pitching prospects that they had left just for him. So, unfortunately, I would rather have Brian Reynolds over them two guys, but it's unrealistic thinking that you have to give all those prospects up. And I don't think it's a smart investment, considering the fact we don't have pitching prospects and we might need them in a couple of years. So, you said Jurickson Profar and you like him. Now, people in the comments right now are talking about the power that the Mets lack. And that's a problem, absolutely. But Adam Duvall, 3 out of his 7-8 years of his career, that's when he hit 30 home runs. And other years like that, he'll hit under 20. And last year, what nobody likes to talk about, and nobody's talking about it, is that he had a wrist injury last year. And he actually missed a lot of games last year because of the wrist. And a guy who relies on power and not much for average, we got to know his hand is healthy enough, because what's the point? You're going to have another Darren Ruff on your hands. And he's a decent left fielder, but basically that's all he can play. And you're limited with him. It's either DH or left field. And when you got Beatty and Canna, now you're losing options when it comes to possible spots you can put him in. I think the Mets like versatility, and where your guy is, Jurickson Profar, might come in. It's a little bit less power, but as you says, besides what you like about him, obviously you can talk about that. But why would you choose Profar over Adam Duvall?
He's a switch hitter. Switch hitters have a big advantage when it comes to righties or lefties. Duvall, yes, he is a big power bat, but he got a little bit more speed with Profar, and he has a lot of versatility, obviously, which is the obvious take for him. But I've seen how he plays, and he hit how many home runs against the Mets in the wild card game?
Yeah, he killed us.
He has a good bat. And the thing is, he has some speed in the outfield. He can play the infield, and that's why I like him. And the switch hitters always have an advantage, no matter what. So, he's a good player, but if it came from one, it just depends. I don't know. For Duvall, he is a big bat, and I've seen him play in the outfield with the Braves, and he has a good glove too. But we'll see. I'm looking at the age. The age is what I look for, and right now, Jersey Profar is what? 29.
He's about 2 years younger, I think. 2-3 years younger. Yeah.
But anything with switch hitters, I'm all for. That's the reason why.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's basically like, it's which one is going to be less worse, basically.
That's the point.
Yeah, exactly, right? Jurickson Profar might be hit for a little bit more average. It might be a 240, 250 hitter. Duvall last year hit 213, and in his career, he's a 225 hitter. So, you're getting a lot of strikeouts with Duvall. You're getting low average. He's basically, a little bit above the Mendoza line. And that's worrisome with, a team that likes to get on base, got a big on base percentage lineup. And you need a guy, then we need to put the bat on the ball, because we can't have a guy that comes up 450 times and strikes out 220 times. That's not getting us anywhere. We're going to be in the same spot we were last year when it came to men on base and leaving those guys on base, because that was our big problem. We did not have enough run producers. Now, again, can Duvall be that run producer? Yeah, but he needs to hit home runs to be that run producer. He don't hit home runs, he's a useless player. And that's why, Jurickson Profar might be the best bet, as you said. He's versatile. He's younger. He provides a little bit of speed, and you can see him probably hitting about 15, 16 home runs. And you know what? For the majority of Duvall's career, he's hit less than 20 home runs. And only 3 times in his career, he hit 30-plus home runs. And most of them were with Cincinnati about 6-7 years ago when he was with Cincinnati, and the 1 year in 2021 recently with the Braves. So I don't know which way they're gonna go. For all we know, they might just stay pat. And I don't know if any of us were like that. What do you think? If they don't get Duvall or Profar, are you happy with what they've done?
At the end of the day, we need to sign a really solid veteran fourth outfielder. We need that for our team. Obviously we missed out on Correa. That's another story. But what do we have on the bench? Who do we have on the bench at this moment?
Outfield, not a lot at all. Exactly. What is it? Darren Ruff, who can play outfield, but he's
Darren
not great.
Ruff he's a quadruple A player. I do not like Darren Ruff. That's all that we have, though. He's a first baseman and then a DH, and he's already up there in age, and he was horrible with the Mets when we first traded for him. So
and you know what? Is Beatty going to be our third base backup and left field backup? That's what I think they might do. That might be the option they go. I don't know. I really don't know. It's very weird, actually, considering the fact that the Mets, almost had Correa, and that would have been solved. So close, just a little bit. And then we're like, okay, we didn't get Correa. All right, let's move on. All right, now we got Trey Mancini, Andrew McCutchen. And then within 2 days, they signed elsewhere. And we're like, oh, shit, now we don't have much places to go anymore unless it's a trade. And the trade's probably not going to happen. Now, like you said, a veteran bat, a veteran DH outfielder, utility guy. Andrew McCutchen was that guy because he played 135 games last year for the Brewers. Yeah, and you know what? Shit, now we're stuck with that. So I don't know what the Mets are doing anymore. I think they wasted too much time at Correa, and I think it screwed them up when it came to guys like McCutchen.
So many weeks of just a standstill of negotiation, and it was a wasted time.
Yeah,
and it happened.
Was.
But
Yeah, even if we signed him, it was a waste of time because of the fact that we didn't do nothing else within that time period. And look what happens now. Now we're even further behind the eight ball, and now we're stuck basically grasping at what's left, and it's not the best out there. And listen, at this point, would you nobody would mind if they get Duvall a Profar, great. But if the Mets come out and say, you know what, we're going to go with Alvarez, we're going to go with Beatty, that's fine with me. You know what? If you're going to use the young guys, you're not going to trade them, play them.
Might as well use them. Yeah, might as well use them.
You know, these guys are top prospects. They're in the MLB top 100. I mean, the Mets have a couple of guys in the MLB top 100. You know, Alvarez and Beatty got a taste of Major League Baseball last year. Before Beatty got hurt, he was okay, wasn't great. Alvarez shown what he can do with his bat, but he didn't have a lot of time. He was put in a terrible situation coming up in that Atlanta in that late series against Atlanta.
That was a poor time to really put him in there for confidence.
Yep.
Yeah, and what was it? The Atlanta Stadium. You know, it was the energy there. It being a rivalry baseball team for the Mets, like he was put in a really bad situation where
he
wasn't able to like be calm. There's no way he was put into not pinch hit, but put into bat in a big stadium like that where they were doing the tomahawk things that they do all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, how do you build someone's confidence in that moment? Of course,
it was an impossible spot.
He's amped up, so and he's young. What, 20 years old? So how are you going to put him in a position to succeed?
Yeah, it was an impossible situation. If he came through, I mean, that would have been great, but you were expecting a lot from a 20-year-old kid who probably wasn't even expected to come up. And, it was out of nowhere that they brought him up, and they should have brought him up a month ago when we needed the bat, and they didn't do that. Yeah. So I want to get to what people are talking about in the chat. People keep on talking about Epler. I want to say this over and over again. Guys, we keep on going back with Epler. This wasn't Epler. You got to remember, Cohen from Hawaii did this deal with Boris to agree to terms with Correa.
Cohen deal, man.
Epler
wasn't even involved. He just got told about it, but that was it.
Exactly. He found out. Epler found out with the front office when we found out. And that's something that, what is Epler going to do? You're going to tell your boss, hey, shut that up. Go back to Hawaii and let me do my job. No, you're not going to do that. Nobody's going to say that to the boss.
Going, no way.
No, you'll be out on your ass. And, you can blame Epler for the trade deadline last year. That's all him. That was terrible what he did. Rough,
really bad.
Vogelback, and Givens. That's garbage. And it got us nowhere. And it didn't help us any step of the way. And I think that was the big reason why, if you wanted to do big things, last year was the year to do it, considering the fact you were the best 3 teams in baseball, and you had the opportunity to take the NL East by the throat and never give that series to the Braves an opportunity for them to take that NL East. It should have never been that at that point, buddy.
Did you know, this is a fun fact, that the Mets were pushing really hard for Juan Soto at the deadline? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, but unfortunately,
lined up and they didn't want to trade him to the Mets.
Because Rizzo didn't want to trade him to the Mets, the GM of the Nationals.
No.
Yeah. Yep. There was a story. I forgot. I think it was Mike Puma. Somebody, one of the reporters, the paper reporters, wrote about that. And it was a small article, but he wrote about that. And when you talked about that, it was obvious that the Mets were trying. But again, if you have a GM on another team that don't like the Mets, they're not going to trade him to a division rival. It's just not happening. And that's
not a smart move, no matter what. But yeah, no. Fun fact about that. I was like, oh wow, they really tried to sort of then. He went to the Padres, and then his batting average dropped tremendously. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, man, rough, and it was a rough deadline, literally.
It was. It was an embarrassing deadline. There was teams. The Phillies even got Robinson. The Braves did a little bit of bullpen help. They did a little bit to get a little bit better. Obviously, they didn't go as further in the playoffs than the Phillies. But you know what? The Phillies saw the problem and they got the guy they needed. The Mets, even though the bullpen wasn't a major issue, they could have used Robertson, but they needed a better bat than Ruff or Vogelback. And they failed. And right now, I don't know what is the possibility of, like, I don't know how Met fans are feeling right now with the Correa issue that didn't fall through, and then the lack of bats, and basically the same lineup we're bringing up in 2023. How confident are you about this lineup?
I mean, the pipe dream was having Correa in the middle of that lineup. That would have been perfect. As far as what we have now, I mean, I'm not as satisfied as I would have been, but I feel like we'll win some ball games. I mean, we have a great pitching staff. We have a tremendous bullpen. I mean, we need one of those lefties. We need at least.
And we're going to talk about that just now. Yep.
Yeah, and
Britain,
I mean, if I were to pick between 1 and 10, how confident I am with the lineup, maybe an 8. I'll give it an 8 because we need one more bat.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're gonna get it right now.
That's the thing, and I think after the Correa saga, I think we're done with picking up any big bats. So.
Yeah, and if you look at it this way, right? We won 101 games last year with this lineup, and the rotation that was without DeGrom and Scherzer for 12 weeks out of the season combined, when Scherzer went down and DeGrom didn't come back until the second half. And also, Carrasco didn't pitch for a little bit, but we were throwing out Trevor Williams and all types of other players as well. And it makes sense that, with that lineup and probably a better bullpen now than we had last year, and hopefully a healthier rotation, there's a big possibility that this team can be projected to be better than they were last year. Again, I don't like to look at records because you can win the NL East with 97 wins. It's just a matter of what the other teams do. If you win 97 games and you win the NL East, clearly it's not a bad thing if you win the NL East with 96 wins. It's just a matter of what the other teams do in the playoffs, or in the division. And I think that you could say right now that with the same lineup and the better bullpen and the possibility of Scherzer and Verlander, who's probably going to be more healthier than DeGrom, is going to get more starts during the year, it's only going to make this team better. But I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to say I'm confident level at 1 to 10. I'm going to give a 7. That's where I'm going to give. What do you think?
I like that. That's exactly where my mindset was at the same. I mean, you picked a 7, I picked an 8. It's
about that area.
The lineup is not a 10. There's no way. It's not even.
Not even close. No, I think we both can agree that the Braves and the Phillies lineup is much better.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're going to look at the rotations and the bullpens, the Mets might have the edge. Baby. The Mets might have the edge in that. And, people just look at the lineups and think, oh, look at the Phillies lineup. They're going to win 100 games with that lineup. Well, their bullpen and their starter rotation might not be as good as the Mets or even the Braves for that matter. And let's be honest, everybody keeps on going on about the Braves lineup, but look at their rotation. Their rotation fell apart at the end of the season last year. And you know what? I think the Mets pitching, rotation, and bullpen is better than the Phillies and the Braves.
Yeah, no. Look, if you look at the NL East, these teams are insane. Just the lineups, just the pitching is so competitive, and the Mets are in it. So it's going to be a tough NL East, and I think they're the biggest division when it comes to the amount of teams that have great quality players on each team, and it's insane. It's going to be a tough division. It's going to be neck and neck. So the Phillies and the Braves, man, they always freak me out. And even the Marlins made some moves. But, we're going to have to see. Here we go, baby.
Giants is going to be a nice play right now for about 20-something yards.
Yep.
Danny Dimes is performing now. Look at that.
Finally.
BMW, he's at a bar, buddy. He can't turn off the volume. He's at a watch party for the Giants. All right, guys. So, so let's see. So somebody was talking about when it comes on in the comments about Senga being the third starter. Look, Senga, even if he becomes he's obviously the Mets' third starter. if he's projected to be what he is, you're going to get an ace type performance from him as your third starter. But if he is a guy who is between a 2.8 ERA and a 3.4 ERA, you're basically getting what Bassett gave you, because Bassett was a little over a 3 last year too. So if he gives what Bassett gave during the season, then you basically have a better rotation, because Verlander actually pitches unlike Jacob deGrom. And if Scherzer, we'll see if he stays healthy, but I mean, for the most part, I think he'll stay healthy for the most part. But Verlander pitched over 30 starts last year, and I think it's perfect that Verlander is definitely going to pitch more, because it was only a Tommy John that he had. His body is not breaking down. He says he felt his new arm when he got that Tommy John surgery. So I think our rotation is going to be pretty good, and it might be better only because is that more guys are going to stay healthier, and you're going to have these guys more than you had the guys last season in that rotation, buddy. I see the Giants scored.
Yeah, no, they just got a TD, baby. Now we're going for the field goal. Let's go. Well, look at Scherzer. The last time that he pitched was in the playoffs, and it was horrible. So he's going to be hungry this year. He's going to want another shot at the playoffs, and I feel like he's going to stay healthy this year, especially with Verlander being there. Verlander has the golden arm. I don't know how he does it, but I think the pitching staff is going to do really well. I think they're going to bounce off each other.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, see, Scherzer tried to put too much on his plate, in my opinion, because of the fact that deGrom was nowhere to be found, and he was more concerned about his payday and pitching for the Mets than coming back sooner and helping this team. When he took himself out of games late in the season, he didn't pitch extra innings when he could have pitched extra innings, taking himself out of the game. I think that hurt. And Scherzer felt like everything was on him. And not saying that his oblique wouldn't have, got hurt anyway, but you just never know. So in my opinion, I think this rotation can be better. And Senga only has to be just as good or a little bit less than Bassett, and I think we're going to be fine, because our number 4 starter is definitely going to be better than what we had last year, who was Carlos Carrasco at the time, or even Taijuan Walker, because Quintana had a better ERA than Taijuan Walker. He pitches more innings than Taijuan Walker, and he gives up a lot less home runs. And, oh, by the way, he is a lefty, and that's big time that the Mets did not have a lot last year, was a guy who can pitch innings, because Walker didn't get to a lot of late in games. He was a really good pitcher for us, but I think Jose Quintana is going to be better because he is a lefty. And I like that signing. He's on number 4.
No, 100%. And I love the Quintana signing. And Taijuan Walker, he's going to be pitching in Citizens Bank Park. He's going to get rocked. I can tell you that. The amount of home runs he gave up in Citi Field, just imagine that in Citizens Bank Park. So it's just...
Exactly. I said that 100 times already.
Great signing with Quintana. Big time. We needed a lefty. Badly.
Yeah, even though we got David Peterson, Quintana's better.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point.
He has a lot of seasonings.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm just going to look at the comments really quick before we get into the Britton or Chafin situation, and why I think it's going to be Chafin over Britton now, and Boris has a lot to do with it. Let's see. All right, guys. So I don't think any trade's going to happen right now, to be honest with you guys. I see in the comments. A lot of people still are on Epler. They don't like Epler.
So much Epler hate.
Well, Dwayne, I don't necessarily agree with that, buddy, because Quintana pitched extremely well last year. And he was one of the better pitchers down the stretch. And, Carrasco, who knows? But Carrasco's your number 5 starter, so it's not like, Quintana had a better season than Walker. So if you're replacing those guys, then Quintana is the better pitcher. Even though I liked Walker, but Walker, I think, is suited better for the Mets than Walker is for the Phillies. So Quintana is an upgrade 100% in my opinion. So Carrasco, who knows? But if he's your number 5 starter, if Carrasco gives you an under 4 ERA, that's pretty good considering that he's going to be your number 5 starter. So, I mean, if you have Carrasco as your number 5 starter, I don't think that's an issue at all. So, what do you think?
No, Carrasco, I mean, he pitched solid towards the end of the season, even after the deadline. So, he's been solid, and only when he's healthy. That's the one thing I look at. Look at his age. You have to look at how healthy he pitches, but he has good stuff. He has great stuff, and I think he's a perfect fifth starter. It's better than having David Peterson on the fifth starter. So
at the moment, because he's probably not better at the moment. But you know what? David Peterson might get a chance to be that fifth starter. You never know what they're going to do with McGill and Peterson. They might make Carrasco, Peterson, and McGill fight out for the fifth spot. And I'm all exactly.
I'll take that.
I agree, 100%. Exactly. And Dwayne is putting something else on here. He said Quintana's only good year in the majors, Rob. Well, not necessarily true, but you could say the same thing about Taijuan Walker. When did he pitch well? Right? He pitched his best years was with the Mets. So if you're going to have Quintana, who had a better ERA last year, would you rather have Walker, who is probably a better pitcher when it comes to being on the Mets? But again, if you're going to throw a 3.4, 3.5, 3.3, 3.2, 3.3 ERA, Quintana pitched better than that. So, you could say the same thing about Walker, about when Quintana, that was his only good year. But as your fourth starter, you're not looking at somebody who's going to dominate a lineup. You know what you need from your fourth starter? You need your fourth starter to give you innings. That's what you need. You need a guy, and Taijuan Walker, there was a lot of times when he didn't go past the fifth inning many times, and when he finally figured it out, he would go 6 to 7 innings, but he didn't do that a lot. Quintana will give you innings. He might not be the best pitcher in the world, but you don't need your fourth starter to be the best pitcher in the world. And I think he's going to pitch more innings from than Taijuan Walker did, and that's huge because, one, it saves your bullpen, which you'll probably need later in the stretch for your older guys at the top of your rotation, buddy. So that's the idea. Yeah, buddy, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, I agree. Here we go, baby. But yeah, no, I think our rotation is looking pretty good. I mean, obviously Quintana, we needed a lefty, man. At the end of the day, we really needed a lefty. I mean, obviously, David Peterson we had, but, Quintana has a seasoning, and he did really well. He was with the Cardinals, right? Was he with the Cardinals?
Yeah. Yep. And he had a great year for them.
And he did, and he really pitched down the stretch for a contending team. So, I feel like he's going to do really well on the Mets. That's just my honest opinion on that.
100%. And now people are talking about Trevor Bauer. All right, listen, guys. Listen. I want you guys to check Trevor Bauer's career ERA and look at the years: 4 ERA, 3.5 ERA, 3.6 ERA. He's not that good. The best year of his career was a pandemic year. Throw that shit ERA pandemic year out the window. 100% throw that shit out the window. He is not that good of a pitcher, because if he was, the team that actually needs him is the Dodgers, and they got rid of him. So just think for a second. You're going to get a guy who's an asshole, who is a wife beater, and another guy that nobody likes on the Dodgers team, and you think people are going to like him on the Mets? No. What do you think of Trevor Bauer?
Regardless of the skill, he's just chaotic in the dugout. I mean, he has a lot of social media antics that he does, and just coming from the Dodgers, none of them liked him. So that says a lot. And there are a lot of great players on that team, a lot of good type of players in the sense of personality-wise, but he would be a huge problem. And he's a PR problem too. So why would you want to bring a cancer into the Mets at this point? This is not the Wilpon era. We're not going to do that. No way.
Correct.
It would be detrimental. Oh my God.
Correct. And it's the same thing when it comes to, you're looking at it. He's not Verlander. He's not Scherzer, right? The Dodgers, who need a pitcher in their rotation, are paying him $20+ million to not be on their team, and they need pitching. Yes. Nobody likes him on that team, and on top of that, he is not that good of a pitcher. Check his ERAs every year of his career. People were talking about contract years in the comments with Walker and Quintana. Well, both of them had good years in contract years, but Trevor Bauer also had a really good year in a contract year. And then when he got his money, he was absolutely garbage for the Dodgers. He is not that good of a pitcher. I'd rather have freaking Senga out there and risk it with him than pitch and give a chance to Trevor Bauer, who is not that good of a pitcher. And I don't like him. I think it's going to be worse for the team. And he's just an asshole, and nobody likes him, buddy.
You need good chemistry on a winning team. And he would destroy the chemistry in the Mets. So no matter how good people think he is, I mean, look, he's the type of guy that closes his eye when pitching. Why would anybody do that? That's mocking the game.
He's a gimmick pitcher. He's a gimmick pitcher. That's what he is.
And that's exactly what he is. And I don't want to play like that in the Mets.
Exactly. I agree 100%. All right, so let's get to the bullpen. Britton or Chafin? I think we kind of agree. We want Chafin, but I know a lot of people were talking about Britton. The reason why, and if everybody heard what Boris said about the ankle specialist that the Mets went to, that also did the physical for the Giants, and that's the report they got and the opinion they got from that ankle specialist. That was the Giants ankle specialist. And Boris came out and said that he don't even know why the Mets negotiated with him if they were going to use the same opinion from a guy and not use their own opinions. Well, look at this. Now, Britton, who is represented by Scott Boras, I don't know how good Cohen's relationship and Boris' relationship is. And that's why I don't think the Mets are going to get Britton. Britton, I think, has a higher upside, but he was also hurt last year. That's why I think the Mets are going to get Chafin, because of the fact Britton is represented by Scott Boras. What do you think, buddy?
I think we get Chafin. I mean, obviously, Zach Britton, he was great to the Yankees. He played in New York before, but I think Chafin, I mean, but the thing is, what scares me is that Chafin had a great year with the Tigers, right? And why is he still out there?
That's what I don't understand. Like, he's one of the better relievers in the game. That's left on the board, and nobody's picking him up yet. That scares me. Like you're saying.
Lefty. So
exactly.
I don't know if it's health wise, but we'll see. I mean, I would love Chafin on the Mets. We need another lefty. It would be great.
Yep. And you know what? If Chafin is healthy, I'm all on board with that. And I think we both agree.
Yeah.
All right, so Jeff McNeil, we talked about the Alonso possible extension. What kind of deal would McNeil get? He's a little bit older. He's 30 years old, going on 31. What type of deal would you give him? In my opinion, I'll make you talk first and give you your opinion about years and amount of money. I think there is no doubt the Mets are going to extend McNeil probably around the same time they'll extend Alonso. But give me your opinion about years and money when it comes to McNeil extension.
McNeil, I'll give him 5 to 6. Anything above 100. That's a little bit tough to top because he's very versatile and he's such a great bat. And the thing is, what also scares me about those big time long year deals is that his age. So I mean, he's going on 30, 31, and he stayed healthy with the Mets a couple of times. So about 5 to 6 years. Anything north of 100. Nothing less, nothing more than 150. No way.
I think you can give him probably 5 or 6 years around the 100, 110, 115. Exactly. And you know what? I think McNeil is probably projected to be a little bit more healthier, considering the fact that he doesn't use his legs for speed. He's a hit machine, so I don't think that's gonna completely fall off the table once he gets older. His timing might be a little bit, but he might not be able to play the outfield as much as he does with the Mets. But he'll be your second baseman, and I think we'll be okay with that when it comes to Jeff McNeil. But yeah, I think 5. I would say I wouldn't go probably past 5 years. I think 5 years. If you really need to go to 6, I think 6 years is probably the best option. If McNeil wants that 6 year, you do it. But 5 years around the $100 million, I think will be perfect for Jeff McNeil. And I think he deserves it because batting champion, he's got that energy. He's got that fire. He's got that attitude. He's perfect for New York. And I think he's perfect. And I think the Mets are going to extend him. It's just a matter of, between McNeil and Alonso, it's going to be probably around close to $400 million between the both of them. But our boy Cohen got the money. And you know what? You got to keep McNeil and Alonso because they're part of your core with Nimmo as well.
Homegrown talent.
Yep.
And
And you know what?
both of them weren't like big time prospects. Nobody noticed them until all of a sudden they just came up. I mean, obviously you had Alonso who hit like 30-something home runs in the minors, and then you had McNeil who was nowhere to be found until he came up, and then he was a hit machine. So you see, it's players like that.
Yep.
They always get bypassed.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like I just don't understand. Like people are like, oh, the Mets don't have a good farm system, but yet they bring up, all the pitchers, the DeGroms, the Syndergaards, even though Syndergaard wasn't really homegrown, but he came up, he got traded and he was in the farm system of the Mets. At the time you still had Mats, you had all those guys, Wheeler, all those guys, and then Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil. And it's like these guys are coming up and they actually were mainstays in our team for a little while, and now Alonso, McNeil, and Nimmo is like our core three right now, and maybe Alvarez and Beatty in maybe this year or next year are going to be part of that core. And now what you do with that core, you bring guys around it. You bring the Lindors in. Maybe the Mets will definitely go out and get Machado or a guy like Ohtani. Exactly. So we talked about the extensions for Alonso and McNeil. I wanted to get into that's why I brought up Ohtani and Machado. There was a report by Andy Martino. Again, nobody likes Andy Martino. He's the Mets hater. But he said that there's a chance that if Machado opts out, that the Mets will go after Ohtani, obviously, and Manny Machado. And now you go back to the point we were just talking about, Beatty. Is Beatty going to be a left fielder because Canada's contract ends? Beatty can play left field. Beatty can go to left field. You got Machado at third. You got Ohtani as your DH, right field, and pitcher in your rotation. That's a big-time offseason. And you know what? I would not be shocked if the Mets move Beatty to left field. He could play left field. He's got a cannon of an arm. He's a decent left fielder, and he could probably be better than Cannon in left field. And you can get one of the best third basemen defensively in Machado, who hit 291. He had 30 home runs and over 100 RBIs last year. And that could be coming to the Mets. And you bring Ohtani there, buddy. Ohtani and Machado. What do you think, buddy?
Oh, my God. I would love both of them. Just wrap it up in a bow and just hand it out.
Oh, man.
Machado is one of the best third basemen in the game. Obviously, Nolan Arenado is up there, but, Manny Machado, he's solid. And I could see Beatty being in left field because look, third basemen have arms. He's gonna have a laser out there in left field, and just teach him how to take good routes to the ball, and he'll be set. I mean, he's gonna be on the same side of the field, so I think he'll be great out there. And Canada's gonna walk a little eventually. I mean, maybe we'll trade him, who knows? But yeah, Manny Machado and Shea, Ohtani, best player in baseball at this moment, other than Mike Trout. And they're both on the same team, so. I would love a trade for Ohtani, but who would we trade for him? That's the key question.
Yep, exactly. And you know what? There's people. Bryce has said that that we're crazy thinking that Machado and Ohtani are gonna come to the Mets. That he's thinking that Ohtani is gonna go to the Dodgers. That might be the biggest threat for sure. But remember, who was the guy that got Ohtani away from the Yankees and even the Dodgers? Billy Epler, 110%. Billy freaking Epler. Billy Epler is a magician when it comes to Japanese players and getting them here. He got Senga, he got Ohtani, and oh, by the way, he got Hideki Matsui when he was the assistant GM under Brian Cashman. He got Hideki Matsui to the Yankees. He's got great relationships with those guys. And 100%, buddy, I'm telling you right now, Billy Epler, his relationship with Ohtani, I think is going to win over because the money's not the issue. The Mets will pay whatever the Dodgers pay and probably more. But the relationship that Epler has with Ohtani, I think is going to go a long way. And if Ohtani wants to come to New York, he will be a Met and he will not be a Dodger. That's just my opinion, buddy.
And tell me if this is wrong or not. Shohei Ohtani, one of the best players in baseball, going to show off in New York? Come on. New York is a big stage. And I think he's going to flourish if you end up getting him. But, oh, my God. A tremendous player. That would be icing on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Top, 2 cherries on top. My God.
2 cherries on top. With a little bit of whipped cream. Why not?
Yeah.
All right, so we got Dwayne that talks about, yes, Epler got Ohtani, but he went to the Angels, which is the West Coast team. Yes, but think of the reason why he went to the West Coast team. He was a guy coming from Japan, leaving everything he knows. No matter how good you think you are, you don't know you can make it in Major League Baseball until you actually go into the major leagues and know you can actually do it. So he wanted to be closer to home just in case Major League Baseball didn't work out. And you know what? It's a quick ride back from the West Coast to Japan. And that's why, remember, the Yankees were willing to pay more for Ohtani than the Angels. Yes, he was on the West Coast, but remember, you're coming from Japan where you don't know if you're going to be any good or at least good enough to be a Major League Baseball player and be as good as he was. Now that he's established, he's confident. If he really has that relationship with Epler and remember, the Dodgers, as good as they might be, they done absolutely nothing this year. If the Dodgers aren't going to be as good as they were last year, and the Padres, who everybody assumes are going to be better, well, if the Padres take over that division and the Dodgers aren't as good as they were last year, and they're going to have troubles winning games and maybe be a wildcard team instead of a division team, maybe you're going to see Ohtani be like, why am I going to go stay in LA where I lost all these years with the Angels? The Dodgers might not be as good as they were, but there is a possibility that he might want to finally come to New York. And it was very close with New York, with the Yankees, until Billy Epler got involved when it came to coming to the Angels, because he used that West Coast to his advantage, even though the Angels were never really a good team anyway. So he went to a bad team knowing he was going to a bad team. But I do think the Dodgers are the biggest threat when it comes to Ohtani. What do you think?
I think, oh my God, if they end up getting Ohtani, there'll be once again another juggernaut. That's exactly what would happen if they get Ohtani. I mean, the Dodgers already have big time players there. I mean, if they would get them, that would be really bad for the Mets. I mean, in general, for the NL side of baseball. But I hope we can pull them away. I mean, we already have some leeway when it comes to Billy Epler, knowing him. So
yep. And I think that's a big deal.
It's big. It's big. Players, for example, what was it? Scherzer, the relationship he had with Cohen when they were talking about coming to the Mets, like relationships and being, really just having that relationship with someone, especially when it comes to a player or an owner, like just having that is a big indicator to bringing someone back in. So, it's a huge deal, and we have a shot.
I do. Look, we have a shot because we can back up the money truck, as somebody put in the comments about the Dodgers. Yeah, the Dodgers are going to back up the truck with money, but the Mets are also going to back up the truck with money. It's just a matter of if Ohtani doesn't care where he goes and he wants to go to a team that looks like they're ready to win and he's like one of the missing pieces and he don't care where he goes, you pay him and he goes. I think it's going to be either the Mets or the Dodgers. It's just a matter of where he wants to go because money's not going to be an issue for either team. Whatever team wants to pay him the most, will pay him the most. If he wants to be anywhere, and it doesn't matter, as long as you pay him the most, he'll go there. And I think because Epler has that relationship, and if Ohtani doesn't mind coming to New York, I think the Mets have a little bit of that advantage, even though the Dodgers obviously are in LA, he doesn't have to move. But I think he's more confident in his ability, and I don't think it's that much of a risk in his case going to the East Coast at this point because, listen, it's not like we don't have a big Japanese community here. We got a huge Japanese community here. And it's not like he's going to lose a fan base. You know how many, everybody talked about the $1 million that tickets were sold when the Mets agreed with Correa. There'll be $3-4 million of tickets sold if the Mets sign Ohtani just by the Japanese market, buddy.
Dude, I mean, just look at how the tickets got sold when Correa was put into the mix. Just imagine Ohtani. Jeez. I mean, Ohtani would be a tremendous addition. Like, he would be him. I mean, and also Machado, too. I mean, like, look at the amount of tickets that the Mets sold when there were big talks with Correa. And that was just Correa. So just imagine, one of the best players in baseball being in the mix with the Mets.
Yeah, and you know what? Obviously, there's a huge Puerto Rican community here, and that's probably where all them ticket sales went to when they agreed upon, with Correa. So the Japanese market would be insane with Ohtani here, just as much as he was with, the Correa situation with a lot of the Puerto Ricans that definitely want to Correa and Lindor. That's like big time. That's like showtime. And that's what Ohtani would be here. It would be an event every time he plays.
Every time he pitched, every time he would DH, I would be there. Oh my God. He's
Yeah.
one of the players you can't stop watching.
Correct. I 100% agree. All right. So we already talked about this, but since somebody's asking the question again, how good is the Mets rotation? If we're going to rate it between 1 to 10, everybody healthy, we're not talking about injuries, just healthy, I would give it an 8.
I was going to say a 9, but yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty solid. I mean, it's not 10. I don't think anything's ever going to be a 10, but
no.
I think it's pretty solid, man. You got Verlander. Look at the amount of things he's done at his age.
Yep. And he won a Cy Young last year. I don't know, man. I think I think this rotation is going to be pretty damn good. Again, obviously, we're talking about if everybody's healthy. Now, you can't predict injuries, but if everybody's healthy, I think this could be one of the top 2 or 3 rotations in baseball for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got 2 of the guys that already have Medicare on the team. So
yeah,
Scherzer and Verlander who are already up there in age. But hey, look, man, it's a trickle-down effect, especially when it comes to their work ethic. You got Verlander, man. I mean, he just moves the ball in certain ways that a lot of guys strike out from. So Verlander is going to be. He's a very hard-working player, and that's going to rub off on everybody else. And Scherzer is too. So you got two of some of the best pitchers in baseball on the pitching rotation. They're going to teach some of these young guys too. So it's going to trickle down. It's going to be fun. That's all I got to say. Correct. It's going to be really fun.
Absolutely. And Bryce is talking about, and I believe Bryce is a Yankee fan. You guys are not spending $850 million for both Ohtani and Machado. You guys will maybe get Machado, but not Ohtani, but you guys can dream. Well, it's not a dream because if the Mets were going to get Correa, they would have spent $800 million in total if they would have got Correa. So if he was willing to spend $800 million this year in total contracts, he will definitely go out and get Ohtani and Machado, especially now that he's pissed off that Correa is not a Met. He would the total amount of money spent was over $800 million for this roster this year if Correa would have joined the team. Now Ohtani and Machado is kind of probably more of what Cohen wants because of the fact he didn't get Correa. And when Cohen's pissed, he gets what he wants, and I would not be surprised. He might not get both of them, but if it's up to Cohen, he will win every single time, money-wise, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, man. Seriously.
All right, so we're about a couple of minutes away from the end of the show, so I just wanted to talk about really quick. I'm sorry, there's one more person that asked a question. New York Committee, what's up, buddy? Rob, why do you think Khalil Lee is on the 40-man roster? He has only gotten worse in the minors. I'm going to leave this to Mike. Mike, Khalil Lee.
He has a great glove. I mean, as far as his back goes, I mean, he has a hole in his swing, and it's just, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe he ends up being a big trade piece. I mean, he's still on the prospect list, so we'll see what we do. Maybe he's a trade chip. You never know, man.
He might be. And listen, if we don't get Adam Duvall or Jefferson Profar, Khalil Lee might be that defensive outfield. You talked about this last week.
Yeah.
He might be the defensive replacement in the outfield for like a Canna, taking Marte out, saving his legs for a game. He can't hit, but he can definitely be that defensive outfielder that can play all positions.
His job is his glove. That's what I could see. Yeah. I mean, he made a bunch of nifty plays with the Mets, and we'll see what he does. Maybe he turns it around this year. We'll see what he does in the minors.
Let's see. He might be an option as well. You never know, especially if Alvarez is not going to be up with the big leagues because you got Navarez and you got also Nito. You can have Khalil Lee as the fourth outfielder. And, with that glove and playing 3 outfield positions, that's defense that you can always use late in games as well, especially in left field. So that's an option that the Mets can look at with Khalil Lee. As soon as I saw that Khalil Lee, I'm like, I got to give you that question right there because that's your guy right there.
I mean, if he gets his bat going, he could be a good addition to the Mets. But, I mean, the bat has to show up. But if he can use him for his glove, I'll take it.
Exactly. Oh, the Giants are. Yeah. Oh, at least they're gonna hit the over. I like that. I like the over. I'm sorry, my parlay's winning right now. I'm happy. Sorry.
I feel you, man. We got a lot of parlays going on over here.
Exactly. All right, guys. So once again, guys, obviously Baseball Mike is here with the Shea Bridge Show every Sunday, 6 p.m. He will join us every now and then during the season for a game or two, just to hang out with us and talk that's baseball. I want to talk for a second about channel membership. Once I hit 5,000 subscribers and during the season every month, I'm going to be doing giveaways for members of the channel. Also, you get as a channel member, you'll get videos that I post before they go public about an hour before, so you get to look at that and comment on it and do everything you want to do with that video. And also, once again, guys, with the channel membership, there's 3 different memberships. It depends. It's up to you what type of membership you want. When you get the highest membership, obviously it's a little more expensive. You don't have to do anything with any giveaway with subscribers, anything. You don't have to do a super chat or a donation to the channel. You automatically are in every giveaway 100%. So if you want to be a member of the channel, just click on that join button or go to the channel page and click on membership, and you can pick any membership you want. But as soon as I hit 5K subs, and once the season starts, every month we're going to be doing giveaways. Videos are going to be up early for you guys, and also you will also get access to many more things, all types of Mets emojis. Everything that I'm going to be making for the channel, you're going to get access to that as well. So check that out. And Mike, say your final thoughts about the Mets and whatever else you want to say to the audience, buddy.
Hey, man, I'm excited for spring training. I may just end up going to spring training just to see how the Mets play and just see how the players are and just feel that environment and, run buckets. That's my thing. But,
Run buckets,
yeah,
baby.
man, 2023, we'll see what the next move is. I mean, hopefully we get something for the bullpen and hopefully we can sign Chapin. But we'll see what else the Mets have in their corner. We'll see what else they pull out of the bag. Steve Cohen,
100
full of surprises.
Yeah, always full of surprises, and he's pissed off, and there's not much he can do at the moment with signing players. But I do know that he is pissed off, and he's probably going to be very focused on doing everything he can this year at the deadline, or telling Epler what to do, and also next offseason once we get there. But let's worry about the 2023 season. Mike, enjoy Catch a Story. Enjoy the rest of the Giants game. Don't drink too much, even though you're off tomorrow for MLK Day.
Just a
little bit. So, you know what? Take a little sip for the audience, and I'll have you on your way, buddy.
All right, Robbie. Take care, my guy. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, all right?
All right, buddy. Let's go, Mets, buddy. See you next time, buddy.
I love GM, baby.
All right, buddy. All right, guys. So that's obviously Baseball Mike on the Shea Bridge Show. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button and make sure that if you want to become a member, to do it soon, so we can get that ready to go for the 5K subs, and also everything else that we have to do with the during the season. Every month you will be in the giveaway situation, the giveaway raffle that I do all the time, and every month 5K subs as soon as I hit that, and then every month of the season there will be giveaways for the members. The members don't have to donate to the channel. Subscribers will have to donate to the channel to enter for the free giveaway. It'll be mystery boxes, it'll be shirts, it'll be jerseys, it'll be bobbleheads, all types of stuff. So members, because you're a member, you don't have to give donations to the channel because you already subscribe. You already do a subscription to the channel. So with that said, guys, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Shea Bridge Show, second show of the 2023 year. And keep on coming back for more, guys. Don't worry, guys. Tomorrow, Mets Hot Stove Live tomorrow with me on my own. We'll get to talk about everything else. We'll see if the Mets do anything. And, of course, we'll talk about, the best football team ever in the Dallas Cowboys against the Buccaneers, baby. So, with that said, everybody have a great night. Enjoy. If you're a Giants fan, sorry, but I hope you lose. But good luck to you guys for the last 14 minutes of the game. Everybody have a great night. As always, Met fans, let's go Mets. See you next time. Have a great night, guys. Thank you.
Mets here, for all your Mets here,